welcome to my channel, Flourish Evermore. One of the videos that I'm gonna do every month is to show you all the different things that I have made throughout the month. I know some of my subscribers, I know from their channel, their yarn channels, whether they're knitters or crocheters, and so I am putting up this video to show the different makes that I have done for each month. And this month is the month of January. Yesterday I wanted to put the video out, but it was very cloudy, and then we had 4 hours of load shedding here in South Africa. In my neighborhood, we had 4 hours during the middle of the day. I couldn't use the light, and being cloudy, there was no sun coming through, and so I waited till today to show you everything and to get the video out to you. So I have my notes so that I don't forget anything. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about was my knitting journey. I am a crocheter. My grandmother taught me how. My grandmother could look at things, even pictures or a piece, and she could figure out how to crochet it and replicate it. My mother was an avid, or is an avid pattern reader. She can crochet anything as long as she has the written pattern. She's brilliant with that. And so I kind of learned from both of them, and also my aunt who also crocheted. So I started out crocheting, have been crocheting for many years, but really for about the last 5 years, been crocheting regularly every day almost. And I really wanted to knit and to learn how to knit. Part of that was there are certain things in knit that I love, that I think are really beautiful. Hats being one of those. I think knitted hats are fantastic. And sweaters, or jerseys, as we call them in South Africa. I forgot what they're called in England. Jumpers? Anyway, and I think especially for winter, that knitted jerseys are really beautiful. And so I really want and have been wanting to learn how to knit. So I started back around 2021 and listened to some of the advice of people who have crocheted that said you need to start with continental knitting if you're a crocheter. Just the way you hold the yarn in your left hand, and everything tends to be more comfortable, seems to be more comfortable for people that start out as crocheters. And so I started that way, watched some videos, but I kept adding stitches. And I would start out with a row of, 24. And then the next time I look down and count, there would be 25. And I don't know where it came from. I don't know how to get rid of it. Do I decrease? I don't know how to pull it out. And it's not like crochet where you just, for me, so easy to pull out, to frog out, and then just pick up where you left off. And so it really was frustrating. I put it away for a while, but watching some other people learning how to knit, one of those I will say is Jennifer at Cinnamon Stitches, and following her and her knitting journey really encouraged me to pick it up and try again. And then by the way, anybody I mention or any patterns, I will put in the description box below, or any yarns as well that I can do that. I will put in the description box below. But all that to say is I stumbled across the YouTube channel Nimble Needles, and Norman, who it's his channel, is, or I should say, a continental knitter. And watching him and his tutorials, they were excellent for me. I could see the stitches. I could see how he picked them up even the faster way of doing knit stitches, and it just really helped me. So I started out with washcloths, and I made a lot of them. And this is one. It is very well used, but that is one. You can tell I'm not really excited about the bind off there. It wasn't perfect, but I made several washcloths. I've given them away. This is called the moss stitch. It's actually one of the patterns on Nimble Needles on the YouTube channel. And I really liked it because I could practice with the moss stitch, practice knit and purl stitches almost equally, the way the pattern works. You do start out with rows of knit stitches, and then each row starts out with 3 knit on either side to give those the borders. But when you get to the middle part, you really are practicing both knit and purl and alternating, and it really helped me become comfortable with both of those stitches. No increases, no decreases, just simple rows. I was able to keep my stitch count even, and really enjoyed making these washcloths. In fact, when I was in the US, hold on just a second, I picked up some more cotton yarn. I love this cotton. That's what I think this one is made out of. I'm not sure the colorway, but I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby. But I picked up another that the colors, the red and the cream, actually match my kitchen a little better, even though I love pink, but this will match my kitchen better. And so I picked this up so I can make more washcloths, because I really love that pattern. I love the washcloth, the cotton. It is brilliant. It holds up. It doesn't get gappy with holes, even though you can see holes, and it scrubs well. I really like the cotton and the pattern. So then I moved on, decided, okay, I can move on now to making hats, which was really one of the reasons I started out on the knitting journey anyway. And so I did. I found, just making sure I get this right, it is Smells Like Yarn, Ross. It is his hat pattern, the Ross hat. And I picked that pattern up and started. I made my first hat, purple one. I will put pictures up if I don't have it with me, that I gave to my husband. Then I moved on to this one. So the purple one I made was with 4-weight Aran yarn. And then I had this yarn from, I think again, Hobby Lobby. It's Urban Chic. Let me check. I'll check my Ravelry page. I have all of my designs, all of the things that I've made on Ravelry. That's how I keep track of what I made. And so this is using Yarn Bee Urban Chic, which I hear that has gone out. They're not making that anymore, and I'm really sad because I love this pattern and the way the yarn worked up. I love the gray and the white, the pink that's added in there, but this had to have been my favorite when I got there and saw the way it was working up in knitting. So this is the hat I made. It is 3-weight yarn. And so, by the way, the Ross hat is a free pattern, and it comes in 1-weight, 3-weight, 4, and bulky 5 weight. And then he has videos on his channel. And so, yeah, so I made this. I really love it. It fits me well. I like the way it fits. And so I was very happy with that. It is very lightweight, so it doesn't get that cold here in South Africa, but just to have my head covered during the winter when it is cold, cooler during the days, or even inside my house. My house stays pretty cold because we do not have central heating. And so this is lightweight, and of course it has pink. Pink is my favorite color. So I made that, and then I just continued to make more. I made this hat. Well, I actually made a hat for my brother and left it in the US for him to try and see how he likes it. Later, I'll talk about how I want to kind of tweak the pattern for what he's looking for. He liked the hat, but there's a couple of things that he would like me to try to change. And so, so I made this hat out of the Flex. It's Loops and Threads. I think that's Michael's. Anyway, I don't live in the US. I do shop there every once in a while when I'm visiting, but love it. This is the softest yarn. It's amazing. And so I made this hat as well. Love the blue color. But I am giving it away, giving it to a friend. And so hopefully he will like it. It will fit him. And so I got that far. Made washcloths, feel very successful with them. Made just the Ross hat. That is basically the ribbing, knit, and then with decreases, and learn to decrease. And the decrease in this is knit two together. Haven't practiced really anything else, but I am now moving on. I have cast on and done the rib, the cuff of a pair of socks, and I'm excited about that. And I have also cast on for a blanket from Linda Simpson's Designs, which I'll show you when I get to the plans for February. And I'm excited about that. In fact, I do want to add that when I cast on the blanket, and I have drawn a blank on the cast on it is, but I will link the tutorial to Linda's blanket, and she'll tell you what kind of cast on it is. But I actually went back to Nimble Needles. Even though Linda did a great job, she is an English knitter. And so I went back to Norman's channel, to Nimble Needles, and looked up the different cast on methods, and was able to really cast on and feel successful about a different cast on than the long tail, which is what I use for the hat and for the washcloth as well. And so, yeah, so I'm really excited about how my knitting is coming along. All right, so we're moving on and looking at my notes. We are now going to move on to other makes that I have done. And I finished in January, so I'm counting it in January, even though it was a December advent calendar. I finished the scarf that came with the Afrique Yarns advent calendar. I have sewn in all the ends, so it is officially finished, and it is beautiful. It used all different yarns from Moya, all different Moya yarns. There are DK and 4-ply yarns that they sell there. Again, they're in the description box below. And I do have a couple of, if you go back to my Vlogmas, couldn't think of the name. If you go back to Vlogmas, my Vlogmas videos, I show the progression of the scarf and the finished product, maybe before I weaved in all the ends. But I'm very excited. The ends are woven in, And again, I am actually going to give this as a gift to a friend, and I'm excited about that. The other thing that I have made is I have been wanting to make a divine hat for probably years. I have heard great things about it from several different YouTube channels, and just raving about how beautiful this hat is, how wonderful and easy the pattern is. So I finally sat down to make a divine hat. And actually, I made two. So this is the first one. Again, I used Loops and Threads Flex yarn. So this is the first one. Let me look it up. This colorway is called, this one is called Seafoam. And I actually love it. They are right. It is a beautiful design. It is a gorgeous fitting hat. So I looked up the video, and I know it was Fiber Spider had one. There were several others that they actually didn't call it the Divine Hat. It was Waves or something like that. Anyway, and I did have to end up tweaking the pattern to fit my head. I think it called for when you were doing in the spaces, when you were doing 2 double crochets, you did 2 rows. When you did 3 double crochets in the space, you did 3 rows. 4, you did 4 rows of that. And I actually did 2 of each until I got to the 5th row. I do actually have a fairly small head circumference, and but even my husband tried it on and it fit him. And so I ended up just doing 2 rows of every repeat, or 2 repeats of every row until the last, till I was doing 5 double crochets in the space. And then I did several until it got to where I thought it was the right length, covering my ears or at my ears, so that I could start the ribbing. The ribbing I also did differently. I did not do front post and back post. I actually prefer where you chain out and then you single crochet in the back loops. And that is just my favorite way to do ribbing. I also went down a hook size so that it would be, it still kind of spreads out, but it comes down a little instead of continuing to spread out. So I like the shape better and the fit on my head. So I made one in Seafoam and loved it so much, I made another, and this is the colorway Blue Lapis, still the Flex from Loops and Threads, and love it. This is so soft. And again, I'm giving them as gifts to a mom, a daughter, and then hopefully the dad, the husband, will be able to wear that one. They'll have kind of matching hats. So I look forward to giving those to my friends. So that is all of my complete makes for January. And and then I have something that was not yarn related, and I do have a shorts video on it, but I did write out a verse from Deuteronomy, which is what I'm going through in my own quiet time, is going through the book. Well, I started going through the Old Testament, going through the book of Deuteronomy. So I drew out this verse. I usually do a lot more doodling, but it was quite long, and I didn't actually do the verse. I picked out things about God in those verses that I saw, and words that were used to describe, just to God is. And that's how I wrote out that verse. So I finished that. I don't know if I'll frame it or if I will put it. I do have a file where I keep a lot of the verses that I do write out. So I did do that. So now we're going to move on to my plans for February. And as I said, I am knitting a pair of socks, and I have already cast on a blanket, a knit blanket. So I'll show you what I've done so far. And actually, to be honest, I had to rip out the blanket because when I got to, so this is, I'm on the row of just all knit stitches right now, the border of the blanket. And so about to start the alternating, it's alternating 12 knit stitches, then 12 purl stitches, 12 knit stitches, which is how the square comes out. And so what happened was I got to that row, and when I got to the end, I'm supposed to have 3 stitches for the border and do 3 knit stitches. You start with 3 knit, you end with 3 knit. And I had 4. So I went back, and it was on that row that I had put in the stitch markers. And I went back, and sure enough, one of my sections had 11 stitches. I had miscounted. So I tried to one by one undo, and I was doing okay until I found two stitches that were like tight. There was something wrong after I had undone them, and it just was too frustrating. So I ripped it out, and then what I decided to do, I think it was on the second, might have been by the second row of doing the knit stitches, I went ahead and put the markers in to mark every 12. So it's 3, then it's 12, 12, 12, all the way to the end where you leave the last 3, just as knit stitches. So I went through and put in, because I figured it's all knit. And if I miscount again, taking out knit stitches might be a little easier than taking out knit, then taking out purl, and so I went ahead early on and put the stitch markers in. And so if you go and watch her video, she will tell you and suggest putting these in. I just did it earlier than she suggested, just because of messing up. And I have counted and recounted, and I think I've got it right. I have knit enough rows that I'm still coming out with 3 on either end and 12 in the middle. So I am now ready, after ripping that out, I am now ready to start the rows of alternating knit and purl stitches. And I'm excited about the way it's going to turn out. I'm very thankful that here in South Africa in January, it is warm. It's a great time to start a blanket, because by the time I get to the middle, it will be cold, and I'll appreciate having the blanket on my lap. So right now, it doesn't make me too hot to be knitting a blanket, and I'm also crocheting a blanket. So oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you what thread that I'm using. This is Craft Smart. Is that right? No, that's in America. Hang on, and let me go look at the other yarn label. All right, I knew there was a craft in there somewhere. It's Style Craft Special DK, and it is DK or 3-weight yarn. It is 100% premium acrylic, and it is, the colorway is gray. So that's what it looks like. And I plan on using it in my bedroom. And that's why I picked the color gray. All right, so the other blanket that I mentioned that I am making is Jada in Stitches calendar. It's Fair Isle 2023 calendar blanket. And I am really excited. So I am doing a corner to corner blanket for my first grandbaby whenever it comes along. And I'm doing squares of the face of African animals. So when I heard this was going to be using the, and I can't think of the word, spools and carrying through color and changing and having a motif, I thought, oh, I don't know if I want to do it, but it's different because it's not corner to corner. And when I saw the first design for January, I was so excited about it. So here is January month. Let me make sure I get it on the right side. And there you go. It is snowflakes. So cute. And I am using, her pattern calls for worsted weight. I am using DK. And so I did add another section, another repeat. So I think in hers there are 6 of these motifs, and that's the repeat, and I'm doing 7 because it is DK and I want it to be this width. And so I'm very excited about it. I love January's month and looking forward to seeing what February's is going to be. And I think it comes out this Friday, so I'm excited about that. The yarn I am using for the main color is pure gold. It is by Elle, a company here in South Africa, and it is DK weight. And this colorway is called Irish Glen. And it is a beautiful, there's pinks, there's blues, greens, purples, but very light color. So I really like that. My plan was to use this turquoise blue color and a purple color for the motif part and alternate them every month, but seeing the snowflake, I'm wondering if February is going to have something to do with hearts. You know, if each month is going to be a motif based on that month, I am thinking I might not just do the purple and the turquoise or teal color and alternate them. I did for January because it was a snowflake and I thought blue would be appropriate for the snowflake or that teal color. But I am thinking that I might change the color based on the motif every month. And yeah, see what happens. This blue color is called, I have the label here, it is called Reef. And the purple, and so that's Reef, there you go. And the purple color is called Grape. And that's what I was gonna alternate with. Purple one month, blue the next month, and so forth. But again, I may wait and see what February holds and decide from there if that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm excited about that blanket. I think it's gonna be gorgeous, and would encourage you to join in. I think it will be a beautiful project for this year. And again, I'm very grateful. January, it's hot here. Making that little panel did not make me too hot. And now we're heading into autumn. And so hopefully the weather and the house will get cooler as we move along into autumn and as the blankets, both the blankets get bigger. All right, let me check and see if I have covered everything. Yeah, the other things that I would like to do this month is I do want to make a cardigan. As I said, we're going into autumn, and so I'm thinking about making a cardigan. I did get some beautiful purple yarn from Hobby Lobby, Yarntopia, Yarntopia Heather. It is a DK or a 3-weight yarn, which is my favorite. Very soft. It is 100% acrylic. And this color is Heather. So they put the name, oh, it's Yarntopia, and the color is Heather. I'm not used to seeing the color on the label. Usually you have to, or on the front of the label where the name is. So yeah, so a very pretty color and very soft yarn. So I'm thinking about using this. I hope I have enough. I have just over 1,000 yards or 1,000, almost 1,000 meters of it. And so I'm hoping it may be enough to make a cardigan for me. I am 4'11", and so it usually takes me less yarn to make things for my head and for my body. So, but hoping to do that, and I think that purple will make a lovely cardigan for the winter. The last thing that I am wanting to do is, well, I do need to make another hat for my brother. And as I said, I need to tweak that, which I'll explain in a minute. But this is, I actually bought an embroidery kit for beginners. I used to cross stitch quite a bit, but I was thinking that embroidery would also be helpful with knitting and crochet, especially if I do an amigurumi and need to embroider eyes or anything like that, that just kind of starting to learn embroidery stitches would be helpful. Plus, I thought this design was pretty. I love flowers, so I bought this and plan on starting it this month. So for my brother's hat, he would like and I can show you on this one, he would like the rib to not be as tight as this turns out to be. He wants it a little bit wider. He does need it a little bit longer to cover completely cover his ears. And so my plan is to maybe add 5 to 10, not very many, more stitches when I do the ribbing. Then as soon as I've done the ribbing, to decrease a couple of rows, depending on how many. If I only add 5 stitches, it would just be 1 row of decrease. If I do 10, it would be 2, but do a decrease and then continue the hat pattern till with the knit stitches until I get to the actual measurement, which I've been doing 5.5 from the ribbing, measuring from the ribbing 5.5 inches to start the decrease. So I think for him, I will do 6 and see if that won't cover his ears a little better. But for those of you that are knitters out there, if there is a better way, maybe it's a different rib. So his is 3 knit, 2 purl ribbing. So maybe I need to try a different ribbing that won't gather. Or maybe this is a ribbing that actually doesn't gather as much as maybe a 2x2 or 1x1 or something like that. But you can let me know if you're a knitter, and if it is better to add some stitches than decrease as soon as the ribbing is finished. Decrease a couple of rows, not more than that. If that's a good idea, you can let me know. I might be a little afraid to start with a smaller needle and then change to a bigger one because I don't know that I'm good with that. Although I have learned how to go from circular to DPNs. So if that's an easy and a better fix, I'm open to that. So, because I want to learn, I want to get better at my knitting. So you can let me know what you think. So I think that is everything. All my makes. Oh, it's not. I just looked over at my bag and I didn't show you the pair of socks that I have started. So Linda Simpson Designs is doing a sock challenge. Forgot what she calls it. Anyway, every month. And so I have a Yarnable subscription, and that's what this is. This is Hypnotic Yarns. It's part of the Yarnable subscription, and I've been doing it for over a year. This colorway is avocado, and so I have a lot of sock yarn that I want to use and make socks. So I have made the ribbing, and I am now on just my rows of knit stitches. And besides being tiny and having a tiny head, I also have very tiny feet. So you can probably tell from my sock that I've started so far that I have tiny feet as well. But I'm excited about this, that I have gotten this far. Now I'm on the leg portion. And so I think if I can get over the heel flap, heel turn, gusset, all of that, I'm so excited about this. And yeah, getting a sock done. So hopefully at the end of February, you will see that I have a complete pair. This is only the first of the pair, but I will have a complete pair done by the time February rolls around. So yes, so I think that's it. I appreciate you joining me for all the makes and for January and my plans for February. We will have another one of these videos at the end of February to show you what I have gotten accomplished, and look forward to seeing you there. Please feel free to join us for Bible study. We are in the book of Luke, and I put out a Bible study every week. I also do Monday meditations where I share, as I said earlier, I'm in the right now in the book of Deuteronomy. I'm going through the Old Testament in my quiet time, and it's Mondays is where I just share my meditations over a verse or two, and how God was speaking to me in my quiet time with him in the mornings, and just to share a short devotional that will hopefully encourage you for the week ahead. That's why I put them out on Monday. So I hope that you will join me if you are interested. And I thank you for joining me for seeing all my makes and all the yarny fun that I've been having. I'd love to know how you are creative. God made us as creative beings, and so I'd love for you to share what your makes are, whether they are yarn related or not. However God has gifted you, maybe you are a writer, whatever it is, please feel free to share that in the comments below, and love to see what you are doing, and yeah, how God is using you to express and spread joy through creativity. So y'all have a great February. We'll see you at the end for another makers video. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye, y'all.